Philadelphia's trade deadline additions were out in full force. The Birds' first practice before their Monday night matchup with Green Bay had a few extra surprises, although the questions circling around the new-look cornerback position still have not been answered. Plus, the return of a forgotten signing creates a world of possibilities, and Jalen Hurts' top weapons are nearly all back as the race for the 1 seed heats up. From Thomas Mott, this is the Thomas Mott Show. Well, the dust is finally settled on the Birds' whirlwind trade deadline week, and after making a few big splashes, Philadelphia's back at the NovaCare Complex on Thursday for their first practice together as a new team. And yes, all the fresh faces were out there and all sound very excited to be part of the defending world champs. But there's still a ton of question marks lingering as we march towards Monday night and a possible NFC Championship game preview with the Green Bay Packers. First, yes, I am back. I'm now officially a father. I'll talk all about that at the end of today's video for those wanting to see pictures, hear how it went, and also the winner of the Game Changers t-shirt giveaway, correctly predicting Jaelen Phillips on my previous video. But for today's video, Game Changers sent me another $50 gift card for their awesome Eagle t-shirts. I'm telling you, check these ones out. Actually, I have a discount code down below in my description box. But if you want to win the gift card, drop a like on today's show and just use baby in your comment down below. And I'll sift through those, pick a random winner, and announce that on my next video. Now, before we get to practice and all the injury news and obviously the newest Eagles, there were 3 huge storylines that broke on Wednesday regarding players that ended up not being traded in the Philadelphia Eagles. Starting, of course, with A.J. Brown, who, yes, you and I knew was not being traded anywhere, but if you followed the national news cycle the past couple of weeks, big-name journalists like Diana Rossini, plus everybody at WIP, were all convinced the Birds were about to move their star wide receiver. And when that didn't happen, again, as every rational person predicted, turns out all those reports, all the news that the teams were offering Philadelphia first-round draft picks might have actually been completely made up. What a shocker. As Adam Schefter told The Fanatic on Wednesday, quote, "I truthfully do not believe there was anything there. Could somebody have called and said, is A.J. Brown available? Maybe. Not that I'm aware of. Someone could have called. It doesn't matter, though. They weren't going to trade A.J. Brown. It wasn't going to happen." Which simply is a fantastic lesson to not believe every single report you see on the internet, even if it comes from a reputable source like The Athletic and Diana Rossini. If you read her articles any weekend the past month, they all said Brown's mad, he wants to be traded, they're getting some serious offers, and Adam Schefter shut all of that down yesterday when he did his appearance on a local Philly radio station. And Howie Roseman, of course, echoed all of this during his one-day press conference yesterday when he told the Philadelphia media they were never interested in moving such an important piece to their football team.
I think that when you're trying to be a great team, it's hard to trade great players. And A.J. Brown's a great player. He wears the C for a reason. He's an important part of this team, of this organization. He cares about winning. He cares about his teammates. And you know, I think that when you're a team like ours that is looking forward to an opportunity to compete for a championship, you just don't get rid of the guys like that. And so feel very lucky to have him on our team and excited about the second half of the season with him.
And lastly, for all the A.J. Brown is still upset crowd, which I guess exists out there somewhere, how about you just sit back and enjoy this report from Josina Anderson earlier this week saying, quote, as a league source said, A.J. Brown is not miserable, he's hungry. He's a player that cares about his team and his legacy. He wants to be among the greats. Every player should want that and continue to strive for that. So, of course, he's going to want to feast. That's the energy that is a difference maker. You don't get rid of that. Again, I've been saying this for months. A.J. Brown is not upset at Jalen Hurts or the Eagles offense. He just wants to be more involved. He wants to catch passes, and he wants to win. Fine by me. He also isn't being traded. That's good news. Number 11 is here to stay. And again, I'm pumped, and you should be too.
You know, it's the nature of the business. But like I said, my focus was be present with my family, my kids, and get healthy.
Speaking of getting healthy, how are you feeling? Do you think you're trending the right direction for Monday?
I'm playing. I'm good to go.
Is this the place you want to be?
Yeah, well, has I said anything to not be here or something like that? Yeah.
Moving on, and one player I did drink a little bit of the trade hype around was, of course, Myles Garrett. Although eventually he did stay in Cleveland, the reports of Philadelphia offering a massive package for Garrett appear so far to be correct. As Eagle reporter Zach Berman noted yesterday, quote, the past 9 months won't be the end of the stories about the Eagles' interest in Myles Garrett. They'll surface again this offseason. And Howie Roseman himself seemingly left the door open for a future return to the Garrett sweepstakes, maybe beginning as early as next March.
You know, I feel like when there's opportunities to be aggressive for the right players, we're not going to sit on our hands. You know, I don't think that you have great success without taking great risks at times. They got to make sense in terms of the risks that you're taking. And so, we can't be afraid to fail. I think for a lot of times for you to get to the top, that you got to be willing to take chances that may look controversial at times. And so if there was an opportunity to do that we thought gave us also an opportunity to be the last team standing, put confetti on our head, we're going to go aggressive in that direction. I feel like that's the right way to operate our team. And that doesn't come without mistakes. I understand that. But, I won't live with regret. I won't live with regret in the way that we operate around here. And so if we feel passionate about something, if we think the value's right, we're not going to be afraid to pull the trigger.
Well, of course, none of this actually matters right now because Myles Garrett stayed a Cleveland Brown. It is worth showing you guys that some of the reports out there pre-deadline were true and some were not. A.J. Brown, Diana Rossini, not true. Not a shocker, but not true. Myles Garrett, Philadelphia's interest, 3 first-round draft picks offered. It appears like they did do that. I don't know what the holdup was, but they did try to go ahead and make a big splash for MG. Finally, we do have an update on the lone remaining interesting free agent on the market in cornerback Asante Samuel Jr., who has officially been cleared from his spinal fusion in the offseason to begin working out and suit up for any team he likes. My problem is, according to ESPN's Jeremy Fowler, yesterday, none of those teams included Philadelphia, as Samuel has workouts this week with the Packers, Vikings, 49ers, Bears, and Steelers. And he's actually meeting with Green Bay twice. He met with them on Wednesday, so yesterday, and today, Thursday. Not sure what time that meeting is happening, but my guess is he's not going to leave Green Bay without a new contract. And so, doesn't appear like Philadelphia is that interested. They could easily have him in and offer him a starting job. But I think based on Michael Carter and Jaire Alexander, as we'll see, they feel comfortable at cornerback, at least enough to not make a call for Asante Samuel Jr. I know my comment section has loved him for the better part of, the past 5 months, but Asante Samuel, his son, he's not going to be an Eagle anytime soon. Now, moving back to reality, and Philadelphia did make a quick roster move on Wednesday in order to create the space needed to bring back Nolan Smith, as the Birds cut edge rusher Patrick Johnson from their active 53 to later re-sign him back to the practice squad, all at the same time activating Nolan Smith's practice window to now fill the freed up spot. Now, of course, this isn't a massive surprise. Patrick Johnson is the odd man out in that edge rusher room. However, he has played very, very well the past couple of weeks, and so does he go to the practice squad and just disappear? Do they elevate him? I'm not sure, but I don't think we've heard the last of Patrick Johnson. The other surprising roster move today was the practice window activation for center guard Willie Lampkin, who we forget was a prized roster signing from the Rams at the beginning of the year following his post-training camp roster release due to some sort of injury in LA. Lampkin is one of these extremely impressive UDFAs from UNC, who back in 2024 earned first-team All-American honors as one of the top offensive linemen in the entire country, and clearly a prize Howie was willing to bend some quote-unquote rules to go ahead and grab. And of course, the timing here is also very interesting. Philadelphia's first post-bye injury report showed the return of A.J. Brown, along with a healthy Saquon Barkley and Adoree Jackson. Great news there, but a lone missing starter in center Cam Jurgens. I'm not ready to panic on Cam Jurgens just yet because it's only Thursday. They're going to practice Friday and Saturday before flying to Green Bay on Sunday, so no word on his official status yet. Could be precautionary, could be a problem. I don't think they're activating Willie Lampkin to be, the starting center on Monday night. Will he even be able to play on Monday night? I'm not sure. But Howie, Roseman, and a lot of scouts were very high on Willie Lampkin, and they think he can be a serious offensive lineman threat whenever he's ready to return, Cam Jurgens' injury aside or not. Plus, people think he could be a serious fullback option at the goal line as well, and so either way, it's a very interesting move to get him ready to go today. Of course, staying with practice, and all 3 of the newest Birds, plus BG and Nolan Smith, were all seen suiting up and honestly looking really ready to go. Especially trade deadline prize Jaelen Phillips, who we forget is a massive, goodness gracious, 6'5", 266, standing right here next to Jaire Alexander. But also, he sounds pretty darn excited to finally be part of a winning organization here in Philadelphia.
I thought I was excited day one. Talk to me now. This is literally the greatest thing that's happened to me in my whole life, probably. But it's just awesome. The guys are awesome. Everybody's been super welcoming. I love the environment here. I love the vibe here. The city of Philly's, giving me a very warm welcome. I got about 20 times the amount of Instagram likes that I ever got on the post before from the Philly fans, so shout out to y'all. But yeah, it's been great so far. Getting out there practicing. I love the weather here. I love the locker room. Everything's awesome.
Honestly, the more I've looked at the Phillips trade the past couple of days, the more I cannot believe they actually pulled it off. I love it. For example, the Dolphins are paying the bulk of his remaining $6.5 million salary this season, so he's costing Howie and the Eagles around $1.5 million the remainder of the year. Pair the contract numbers with his actual play on the field, and he continues to be a really impressive film watch, bolstering top 5 numbers including pressure rate, pressures, and hurries on third down. But more importantly, it's his proven versatility that I think was the main reason in bringing him to Philadelphia. Phillips is not simply a pure edge rusher who lives on one side of the field, like, say, a Bryce Huff, he's actually the best edge rusher in football this year when lining up as a defensive tackle and going against interior offensive linemen. Right now, he's already registered 5 pressures in 2025 when going one-on-one versus centers alone. I think Philadelphia is gearing up for some NASCAR-type packages for Jaelen Phillips, where they have Jalen Carter and Jaelen Phillips go ahead and be their defensive tackles in this, 5-man front or 4-man front, and then you can mix in any edge rushers you want on the outside. Jalen Hunt plus BG plus Nolan Smith, Nolan and Jalen Hunt, Nolan BG, whatever you want. Either way, the versatility is going to be key. Plus the fact he's a great dude. It sounds like a lot of the teammates, at least those new ones, are pretty darn excited to have the new number 50 in Philadelphia. Next, obviously, the new cornerbacks. Let's go to Michael Carter and Jaire Alexander, both of whom I think no one outside the NovaCare complex truly knows what the plan is for them heading into Monday night versus the Packers, or really the rest of the 2025 season. However, both are very, very interesting. For example, Phillips, he's an edge rusher who's also familiar with Vic Fangio, so he's probably going to play a ton of snaps on Monday night and have an instant impact. For Carter and Alexander, though, there's a real chance they might not even see the field. We keep being told that Cooper DeJean is not moving to the outside. He'll stay in the nickel. So I guess if they want to play Michael Carter, that means he's going to be in dime packages versus the Packers. Still, though, the most intriguing out of all 3 moves for me, at least right now, is Jaire Alexander. Because on one hand, there's a real argument he's completely washed based on the lack of play as a Raven to start the year. However, when you listen to Howie Roseman actually explain the move, it sounds like they really think they can bring him back to his peak All-Pro form.
And then, with Ja, I remember just when he signed in June with Baltimore, thinking what a great signing by them. And obviously it didn't work out for the way that he wanted or that they wanted, or he wouldn't have been available to us. But, the relationship we have with Baltimore and being able to have honest conversations and understanding what he went through a little bit in training camp and getting back to health, obviously missed a lot of time last year. And then just really doing a deep dive on him and how successful he's been, what we thought of him last year, when we were in Brazil playing them, and then for the first part of the year, and then having CP who's with him and getting to know the mindset of the player. And so, sometimes, you get in this league, you acquire information, you watch everything, and you feel like, hey, the risk is worth the reward here. And I think when you talk about still a young guy, knowing where his health is at now, feeling healthy, feeling good, we felt like the risk was worth the reward with him.
Still, though, I don't see a world where he actually starts outside as cornerback 2 on Monday night. I don't think anyone's expecting that, but in case you were, they are not going to go ahead and just insert him out of the blue with very little practice into Fangio's defense ahead of Ja'Cory Bennett or Adoree Jackson. Can he eventually get that spot down the season? Maybe. We'll see. But again, he's the most intriguing because I just don't know if we're going to see him at all or if he's going to become an all-pro like he was with the Packers. Either way, at worst, Jaire Alexander is going to be the new veteran voice to further bring along Q and Coop to the all-pro territory we all think they can eventually get to. And last year, obviously, Darius Slay, he was the leader in the clubhouse. He was the veteran cornerback voice. Right now, though, they had nobody, and now bringing Jaire Alexander, maybe he's going to be that guy. But he himself thinks he can play. That's why he wanted out of Baltimore, where he had no playing time, and into Philadelphia, and told the media for the very first time on Thursday that he's pretty darn excited for the possibilities in Vic Fangio's scheme.
I'm feeling good, really good.
Why do you think in Baltimore things didn't seem to work out in terms of you getting on the field?
Well, I think they just had some guys they wanted to play, some younger guys, but I'm excited about this opportunity here.
So it wasn't a physical thing. You feel like ready to go and get out there?
Oh, yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Still, we must set expectations. I think John Clark had a great article yesterday where he confirmed that Jaire has had fluid drained from his injured knee as early as the past couple of weeks. And that, to me, is the crux of the whole issue. Is he actually healthy? Can he actually go out there and give you 4 quarters against the top wide receivers in the NFL? The Ravens said no. Philadelphia thinks he can. Is he going to play on Monday night? We'll see. But my guess is he's a depth piece in case injuries were to happen, or they put him behind, Adoree Jackson, put him behind Keely Ringo, and then eventually he wins over that job as the season progresses. Either way, give me your thoughts on Jaire Alexander down below. I'm still intrigued, not really confused, but intrigued by the move. We'll see what he looks like, maybe on Monday or going forward. Now, of course, plenty more stuff happening the next couple of days and weeks. Hopefully, business as usual here on this channel. But how much sleep I get, because as most of you guys know, we had our first baby, my wife and I, on Monday morning. We brought little Lily Mott into the world. She is perfect. We love her. She's fully healthy. Mom and her are doing great. So far, sleeping pretty well, at least better than I expected. Not perfect. You guys with newborns and kids know, but it's been going very, very well. And I cannot thank you guys enough for all the thoughts and prayers. And again, hopefully business as usual, but we will see. And for those wondering, happy, healthy, she's beautiful. I'm absolutely smitten by her. I'm totally in love, and it's very fun to be a dad, even though we're only a couple of days in. And still, yes, we're sleeping well, but pretty darn tired. But everything going well there, and so hopefully the show is going to go ahead and continue and be, business as usual, getting ready for Monday Night Football. Finally, though, the Game Changers winner of someone correctly predicted, being a subscriber, and who Howie's next move was going to be heading into the trade deadline, of course, Jalen Phillips. That was Syndrome, who had the correct tweet. You see it here. Syndrome, go down below. Send me an email. All the details are down in my description box. I'll get the t-shirt shipped out to you. T-shirt of your choice. Just all the details down below. Still, plenty more stuff happening the next couple of days and weeks. I'm Thomas Mott. This has been the Thomas Mott Show.